The city that shouldn't exist. They weren't supposed to find anything. Not this far out. Not after the last transmission went silent. The reconnaissance ship drifted slowly through the dead sector, its hull scarred from years of quiet war. Beyond the viewport, nothing. No stars, no signals. Just a suffocating darkness that seemed to swallow even light itself. "Captain, you need to see this." The voice came from the navigation deck. Tight. Uneasy. Captain Reese stepped forward, boots echoing faintly across the metal floor. "Another ghost signal?" "No, sir." A pause. Coordinates don't make sense. The main screen flickered and then it appeared. A city. Human. Perfectly intact. Floating in the void. For a moment, no one spoke. Skyscrapers stretched upward like frozen giants. Roads curved between them in clean, precise lines. Lights glowed faintly inside buildings, as if people still lived there. But there was no orbit. No planet. No star. Just a city, hanging in nothingness. "That's impossible," one of the crew whispered. Reese narrowed his eyes.
"Scan it."
Already did. Another pause. Then, no life signs? The silence that followed was heavier than before. No life signs, yet the lights were on. They approached slowly. Too slowly. Every instinct screamed to turn back, but curiosity had always been humanity's fatal flaw. As the ship drew closer, details sharpened. Cars sat in the streets. Doors were open, windows half drawn. It didn't look abandoned. It looked interrupted. "Zoom in on that intersection." The screen shifted. A man stood there, mid-step, frozen, perfectly still. "Is that a statue?" someone asked. "No," said the scanner operator, voice trembling. "Thermal scan shows nothing, no heat, but structure is intact." Reese leaned closer. The man's face was clear now. Eyes open, mouth slightly parted, like he had been about to speak. And then, stopped. "Forever." "Bring us closer." "Sir, we don't know what this is." "That's why we're going." The ship hovered just above the city's edge. No gravity fluctuations, no radiation spikes, nothing abnormal, which made it worse. "Deploy a drone." A small reconnaissance unit slipped out of the ship and descended into the silent streets. The feed came in instantly. Buildings, signs, shops, everything normal, too normal. The drone passed by a cafe. Inside, people sat at tables, frozen mid-conversation. A cup of coffee hung mid-air, spilled but unmoving. The liquid didn't fall. It just stayed, like time had been cut out of reality. "Recording anomaly," the operator whispered. "Time displacement. Or suspension?" "No," Reese said quietly. "This isn't time." He didn't explain. But deep down, he knew. Time doesn't just stop. Something stops it. The drone moved deeper, past homes, past parks, past a playground where children hung frozen on swings that never moved. And then, the signal glitched, just for a second. Static, then back. "Did you see that?" someone said. "Probably interference." The feed flickered again, longer this time. When it stabilized, something had changed. The street was the same. The buildings were the same. But the people, their heads were turned. All of them, facing the drone. No one breathed. "That's not possible," the operator whispered. They were facing forward before. Reese's voice dropped to a cold, quiet tone. "Rewind the feed." They did, frame by frame. The people hadn't moved. Not once. No transition. No motion. One frame, they were normal. The next, all staring directly at the drone. "Sir," someone said slowly. "I don't think they're frozen." A long silence followed. Then, "What do you mean?" The reply came in a whisper. "I think they're waiting." Suddenly, the drone feed cut. Completely. Black screen. "Signal lost." "What happened?" "No idea, no damage detected, it just..." The screen came back. But now, the drone wasn't in the street anymore. It was higher, looking down, as if something had lifted it. Slowly, deliberately. And then, for the first time, a voice came through the comms. Not from the crew, not from the drone, from the city. Soft, distorted, whispering. "You came back. Every system on the ship shut down at once. Lights flickered. Engines died. Silence consumed everything. And in that silence, every screen on the ship lit up, showing the same thing. The city. Closer now. Much closer. Too close. Captain Reese didn't move. Didn't speak. Didn't breathe. Because deep inside, he understood the truth. They hadn't found the city. The city had been waiting for them. And now it wasn't going to let them leave. The moment they stepped past the broken gates, everything changed. The air felt heavier. Not colder. Not hotter. Just wrong. Lolly was the first to notice it. She looked down at her feet as she walked. No dust moved. No sound echoed. Even their footsteps felt swallowed. "Why is it so quiet?" she whispered. But no one answered. Because they all felt it. This wasn't normal silence. This was held silence. Like the city itself was pausing, waiting. Ooh! They moved deeper inside. The streets stretched endlessly ahead, lined with tall buildings. Cars stood frozen mid-road. Some had their doors open. One car had its headlights still on, but the light didn't flicker. It didn't dim. It just stayed there, unchanging, like time forgot it. Rango stepped closer to a man sitting inside one of the cars. The man's hand was on the steering wheel, eyes forward, frozen, not dead, not alive, just stopped. "Don't touch him," Baba John said sharply. But it was too late. Rango had already reached out. The moment his fingers brushed the man's arm, a sound echoed, not from outside, from everywhere. A deep low vibration, like the city just noticed them. "Ooh!" Jampo turned slowly. "Did you hear that?" No one replied, because now they all heard something else. Tick, tick, tick. A clock. Somewhere. Lolly's eyes widened. That wasn't here before. The ticking grew louder. Faster. Closer. But there was no clock in sight. Ooh! Suddenly, a bird in the sky moved. Just a little. A tiny twitch. Everyone froze. They all saw it. The bird had been stuck mid-air. Wings spread, frozen. But now, it moved again. Slowly. Painfully. Like something was forcing time to restart. Piece by piece. "No," Baba John whispered. "We shouldn't be here." Ooh! Then it happened. The man inside the car blinked. Once, slow, unnatural. His eyes didn't move. Just blinked. And then, he turned his head, directly toward them. But his face didn't change. No expression. No emotion. Just eyes, staring, watching. Ooh! Lolly stepped back, her voice trembling. It's not frozen. It's waking up. Ooh! All around them. Tiny movements began. A door creaked open by itself. A hanging sign swayed. The bird flapped once, twice. The ticking sound became louder. Faster. Relentless. Tick, 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 tick. Like a heartbeat returning. Ooh! Then, the man in the car smiled. Too wide, too slow, too wrong. And in a voice that didn't match his unmoving face, he said, "You two are not supposed to be here." Ooh! Everything stopped again. Instantly. Dead silence. No ticking. No movement. Nothing. Ooh! Jampo's voice cracked. What was that?" But Baba John didn't answer. He was staring at something behind them. Something in the distance. Ooh! Lolly turned, and her heart dropped. At the far end of the street, hundreds of people stood, all frozen, all facing them. Ooh! And at the exact same moment, every single one of them. Blink. The silence wasn't normal. It wasn't empty. It was watching. Lolly felt it first. That strange pressure again, like something pressing against her mind from the inside. "Did you feel that?" she whispered. Jampo didn't answer. He was staring at something ahead, frozen, completely still. "Jampo?" Lolly stepped closer. His voice came out dry. "Barely there." It moved. Lolly's heart skipped. "What moved?" Slowly, very slowly. Jampo raised his shaking hand and pointed toward a building across the street. An old shop. Glass broken, door half open. Inside, a man stood behind the counter. Frozen like all the others, but his hand was not in the same position anymore. Lolly's breath caught in her throat. No, that's not possible. I saw it, Jampo whispered. His fingers. They twitched. Silence. Then, tick, a sound. Soft, but sharp enough to cut through the dead air. Tick, tick, tick. Both of them turned. Everywhere. The sound wasn't coming from one place. It was coming from all around them. Like clocks. Hundreds of them. But they hadn't seen a single clock in the entire city. Tick, tick, tick. And then, a voice. Very faint. Very close. Don't move. Lolly froze instantly. Her eyes widened. Did you hear that? She mouthed. Jampo nodded slowly. The voice came again. Closer this time. Right behind them. If you move, they see you. Lolly's blood turned cold. Her body locked in place. She could hear something else now. Not ticking. Breathing. Slow. Heavy. Not theirs. Something was walking. Between the frozen people, step. Pause. Step. Pause. Like it was searching. Like it was choosing. Lolly's eyes shifted just slightly to the side. And that's when she saw it. One of the frozen humans. A woman. Standing near a street pole. Her eyes were not frozen anymore. They were moving. Slowly, directly toward Lolly. Watching her. Tracking her. A tiny tear rolled down Lolly's cheek. She didn't dare wipe it. The voice whispered again. Now almost inside her head. Too late. The ticking stopped. Instantly. Complete silence again. And then, all at once, every frozen person in the street moved their eyes and looked at them. Together. The house had gone quiet. Not peaceful quiet, but the kind that watches you. Lolly sat in the corner, her knees pulled to her chest, eyes locked on the wall where Jampo had disappeared. Wawapas ayagana, she whispered. No one answered. Because deep down, they all knew. Something had taken him. That night no one slept. Every creak felt like a step. Every shadow looked wrong. And then, a voice. Soft. Familiar. Lolly. Her body froze. It was Jampo, coming from inside the wall. No, Baba John said instantly. Don't respond. But the voice came again. Closer this time. Lolly, it's cold in here. Her eyes filled with tears. That's my bite, she said, standing slowly. Lolly, stop. Rango grabbed her arm. But she pulled away. Because the voice, it sounded scared. Weak. Human. The wall in front of her began to breathe. Not crack. Not shake. Breathe. Like something alive was pressing from the inside. A shape started forming. A face. Jampo's face. But something was wrong. His eyes. They were completely black. And his smile. Too wide. Too forced. Too hungry. Let me out, he whispered. His hand pushed through the wall. Not breaking it. Melting through it. Like the wall was no longer solid. Like it was letting him pass. Lolly took a step back. Fear finally breaking through. You're not him, she whispered. The face twitched. The smile stretched further. Wider than humanly possible. And then, the voice changed. Deeper. Layered. Like many voices speaking at once. Smart girl. Suddenly, every wall in the house reacted. Faces. Dozens of them. Pushing out. Screaming silently. Watching. Choosing. Rango fell to the ground. They're not trapped, he said, shaking. They're waiting. Baba John looked around slowly, realization hitting him like a nightmare. It doesn't take randomly, he said. It chooses. The lights flickered violently. The walls pulsed. And then, all the faces turned, at once, toward one person. Lolly. Her breathing stopped. Her heart dropped. No, she whispered. But the walls, they had already decided. From every direction, a whisper filled the house. Louder, clearer, hungry. Lolly, Lolly, Lolly. The floor beneath her feet cracked slightly. A handprint appeared. From below. Pressing upward. Trying to reach her. Baba John ran toward her. But the walls moved. Shifted. Like a maze rearranging itself. Blocking him. Separating them. Lolly stood alone now. Surrounded. Chosen. The wall behind her slowly opened. Like a mouth. And just before it touched her, a new voice echoed. From deep inside the house, cold, ancient, final, not yet. Everything stopped. The walls froze. The faces disappeared. The house calmed. Lolly collapsed to the ground, shaking violently. Rango and Babajan rushed to her. What was that? Rango whispered. Babajan didn't answer immediately, because for the first time, he looked afraid. It's not just hunting us, he finally said. It's deciding what to do with us. And somewhere deep inside the walls, something moved. Not fast, not loud, but certain. It wasn't done, not even close. The silence didn't last. It never did. Lolly's breath was shaky now, uneven, like something inside her chest was trying to escape. The air felt thicker than before, almost alive. Even the darkness had weight. Then, a sound. Not knocking, not scratching. Breathing. From the walls. Slow, deep, synchronized, as if the entire house had lungs. Rango stepped back. You hear that? Tell me you hear that. But no one answered. Because they all heard it, and worse, they felt it. The walls were breathing with them. In, out, and suddenly, the rhythm stopped. Lolly froze, because her own breathing didn't, and that's when she realized it wasn't matching her anymore. It was matching something else. Behind her, slowly, painfully slow, she turned. Nothing, just darkness. But the shadow on the wall behind her moved, not like a shadow should. It stepped forward, detached, and stood upright. Same height, same shape, same hair, same face. Lolly, but wrong. Its head tilted unnaturally, too far to one side, and then it smiled. Wide, too wide, black hollow eyes locked onto her. You stayed, it whispered. Lolly stumbled back, shaking her head. No. Babajan rushed forward, pulling her behind him. Don't look at it. But it was too late. Because now, more shadows began to peel away from the walls, one by one. Rango's, Babajan's, even Jampo's. Each one stepping forward. Each one becoming real. The room filled with them. Copies. But not exact. Their smiles were wrong. Their eyes were empty. And their movements delayed, like they were learning how to be human. Jampo's double suddenly spoke, but its voice came out broken. Too late. Rango's copy took a step closer. You shouldn't have come back. Babajan tightened his grip on Lolly. Close your eyes, all of you. Don't let them see you. But Lolly couldn't, because her double was coming closer, step by step, matching her movements perfectly now, mirroring her. Until it stood inches away, face to face. And then it leaned forward and whispered directly into her ear. We don't copy you. A pause. A breath. We replace you. The lights flickered violently. The walls cracked open deeper. And suddenly, the real Jampo screamed, because behind him, his own double, grabbed him and pulled him backward, straight into the wall, like it was liquid, like it was waiting. Jampo! Lolly screamed. She ran forward, but Babajan held her back. It didn't wait this time. The house didn't whisper anymore. It acted. Jampo was still screaming, his fingers clawing the floor, nails scraping, leaving marks that shouldn't exist. Lolly, don't let go. But she already had, because the thing pulling him wasn't just a hand anymore. The wall behind him opened, not like a door, not like a crack, like skin tearing apart, and inside it, darkness, moving darkness, breathing darkness. Jampo's body jerked violently as something yanked him harder. His legs disappeared first, then his waist, then his chest, and for 1 second, just 1 second, his face froze, not in pain, not in fear, but in realization. Lolly, his voice changed. It wasn't him anymore. Don't listen to them. And then, snap, silence. The wall closed. Smooth. Like nothing ever happened. No crack, no mark, no Jampo. Just wall. Lolly couldn't move. Her breathing stopped. Her mind broke, because slowly, Very slowly, a shape started forming on the wall. A face, pressing outward. From inside, eyes opening where there were no eyes before. A mouth stretching wide, too wide. And then, it spoke. Lolly. It was Jampo's voice. But wrong. Broken. Twisted. Why didn't you save me? The walls around her started moving again. Faster this time. More aggressive. Faces pushing out everywhere. Hands trying to escape. Whispers turning into screams. She let him go. She chose herself. She belongs to us now. Lolly covered her ears, screaming, "Stop, stop!" But then, right behind her, she heard footsteps. Soft, slow, dragging. She turned and froze. Standing there was Jampo, or something wearing him. His body was stiff, his head tilted unnaturally, eyes completely black. And that smile, that same unnatural smile, too wide, too wrong. Lolly. He took one step closer. We're not gone. Another step. We're inside now. The walls behind him started pulsing, like a heartbeat. And suddenly, dozens of hands shot out, grabbing Lolly's arms, her legs, her hair, pulling her back toward the wall. She screamed, but Jampo didn't help. He just stood there, watching, smiling, and whispering. "You're next," whispered Outro. "If you think this is the end, you're wrong. Because the walls haven't chosen their final face yet." The silence wasn't normal. It wasn't empty. It was waiting. Lolly stood frozen in the center of the room, her breath shallow, her hands trembling so badly she couldn't even wipe the tears off her face. The walls had stopped moving, but that somehow felt worse, because now they were watching. "Jampo?" she whispered. No answer, only a soft, wet sound behind her. She turned slowly. At first she thought it was a shadow. Then it stepped forward. It was Jampo. Same face, same clothes, but something was horribly wrong. His eyes completely black. His smile too wide, too forced. "Lolly," he said softly, but the voice didn't come from his mouth. It came from every wall at once. Her heart dropped. "You're not him," she whispered, stepping back. The thing tilted its head. Crack. Its neck bent slightly too far. Then it smiled wider. "We are him." The walls behind it started swelling again. Dozens of faces pushed outward. Babajan, Rango, even Mr. Tipu, all smiling, all wrong, all watching her. Lolly screamed, running backward, but the floor beneath her cracked like dry skin. Her foot slipped. She fell. And when she looked up, the walls were closer now. Too close. Hands began pushing out, stretching, reaching. Cold fingers grabbed her arm. Another grabbed her leg. "No, leave me." "Please," she screamed, kicking, fighting. But the more she struggled, the deeper her body sank into the wall behind her. It felt soft, like wet clay, like something alive. "No, no, no, no." A hand covered her mouth. From the wall, right behind her, whispers filled her ears. "Don't fight. You'll break. Become still. Become us." Her screams faded into muffled cries. Her fingers clawed at the air, until they stopped. Slowly, her body went still. The room fell silent again. The wall smoothed out. No cracks. No movement. Nothing. Just silence. Minutes later, the front door creaked open. A faint light entered the house. Footsteps. Another person. A stranger. "Hello? Anyone here?" They stepped inside cautiously. The house looked abandoned. Dead.
Quiet.
Safe. Then they saw her, Lolly, standing in the center of the room. Perfectly still. Head slightly lowered. Hair covering her face. "Hey, are you okay?" the stranger asked, walking closer. Lolly slowly lifted her head. Her face looked normal. Too normal. Then she smiled. And her eyes turned completely black. The walls around them started breathing again.